politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. No time to stick. Brian Stone wrote an article, a letter to the editor about the corruption, mismanagement and pressure being put on citizens by the Chaguaramas Development Authority. It reads, the Chaguaramas Development Authority, CDA, is a state enterprise directed by the Minister of Planning and Development, the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis. Up until recently, our citizens experienced the free natural outdoors without harassment or expense. The CDA, in their warped sense of financial mismanagement, has instituted a punitive tax on every citizen parking their vehicle in Tucker Valley. Effectively, it's a draconian scheme to force nature lovers to pay to picnic in the park, pay to exercise, pay to walk in the woods, pay to ride your bike, pay, or you are not welcome to stay. To add insult to injury, says Brian Stone, the parking grounds are unpaved, muddy when wet, and for the fee paid, no benefits of any kind, e.g. toilet facilities, parking security, are offered. Most injured are the families with young children and the elderly, who are forced to park in an area that is not only over a mile away from the Bamboo Cathedral site, but to access the site is by road only, which has no sidewalks. It is irresponsible, reckless, and downright dangerous to force people, children, to walk on the roadway in vehicular traffic. It's shocking, but that's PNM for you. That just epitomizes PNM across the board, and that is the wig buyer with all your credit card tax money, the ignorant one who like to attack Kamla all the time. Camille Dodo Head Robinson Regis, who don't know Scotland does advertise winter golf, but I'll go deal with that just now. Shell executives meet with PM, Shell executives, BP executives, look at them, look at him, oh, with his scarf, looking so good amongst the pinks. That is the man who criticized Patrick Manning, saying Patrick Manning was corrupt because he met with the CEO of Sunway at the Prime Minister's office at Whitehall. Patrick Manning met with one CEO. Since this man swearing is only CEO, like he's singing soca about CEO, right? Because procurement without procurement, and look who he take. Look who he take. Small pin, right? Wherever it have negotiation, is he and he small pin. Brilliant. Corporate governance, fantastic. PNM don't thief. PNM not corrupt. Rowley is the bastion of integrity, propriety, and transparency. What you want me to say? Move them now. And let me tell you, as we're talking about transparency, propriety, and what's right. So in Tobago, it have election. My mother always say, don't ever play with food. Don't play games with food. If you have an event at home, don't chinks on food. Don't look for the cheapest food. Make sure if you're giving people food, it's of the highest quality, the highest you could do. If you can't do that, just keep yourself quiet. Don't invite nobody by you. You know PNM, not only playing politics throughout this COVID 21 months with hamper and grants, they now playing politics with food card. And in Tobago, they boasting about flinging out food card, handing out food card. Now think about it. Not only they want to cheat and gerrymander and add on 3 seats that the EBC took instruction from the political directorate, but the EBC happened to be run by an apolitical niece of a former PNM minister, right? She don't prefer no side. No, she's impartial. But them take instruction from a political executive. They're supposed to be independent. Just like the president is supposed to be independent. Just like the independent senator is supposed to be independent. Just like the police service commission is supposed to be independent. All you go ahead. Democracy, We can't spell that. But in Tobago, for a vote, them giving out food card. Let me tell you something. If you, my people, think about it. One, the person who needs to give you a food card to try and get you to vote for them, you think they really have what it takes to move forward with policies, creative new ideas to boost the economy, create jobs, keep you safe and so on? And secondly, if you accept a food card to go and vote for them, then you have given them the authority to not do nothing to help you, to put no ideas in place to give your children opportunities to advance themselves. But in Tobago now, Rowley and the PNM have taken Tobago to the lowest ebb ever. Tobago is known for its discipline, its character, its intelligence, its ability to make decisions. Now Tobagonians bowing their head in shame because 5 Tobagonian youth went grenaded a rubber bank. Rowley has disrespected and mashed up Tobago more than any leader in the history of the Twin Island Republic. But this PNM disgraceful playing politics with food, you know. In a pandemic, when people starving, you playing games with food. Just think, let that soak into your being. Think about what PNM is. How could that even enter your thought process? Hey, let me play politics. People hungry. Look at a little food card. Are you really serious? Actually run it and show them.
Ansel Dennis stated vehemently that at no point any of the PNM assemblymen received any food cards to distribute. Mr. Dennis was speaking at today's post-executive council media briefing.
At no point in time did any assemblyman walk around Tobago or his or her electoral district distributing food cards from any back pocket. At no point in time did any assemblyman walk around Tobago or his or her electoral district distributing food cards from any back pocket.
Few moments later,
I just end up in trouble with food card. Because when my package come, other assemblymen they say, nah man, because it's 400 and change food cards I just bring and share it out.
All this talk about me or any individual on this team going about Tobago with hundreds of food cards and just dishing it out to people is absolutely false. All who want to talk about call the police, I want to ask them for who?
Call the police for me. Hey, wa-da-da-dang, wa-da-da-dang-dang, hey. Bang, man, the angle of a angle bang. Wa-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dang. You just call the police for me. You tell them it's a case of emergency.
But I must say, there is a good PNM in Tobago, you know, one of them. A fella went on the morning show on Channel 5, an assemblyman, and he berated his PNM colleague for doing that and handing out food cards because he said it must be done properly to get the real benefit to the people, to put them in the system, to do it properly, to ensure that they are monitoring the system and seeing that people are getting most of the benefits so they can uplift themselves and their family. So that PNM argue with the wrong PNM. Run it there, Archie.
I just end up in trouble with food card. Because when my package come, other assemblymen they say, nah man, because it's 400 and change food cards I just bring and share it out to people.
Pulling their way in. And I must say to persons with the one-off food card, I understand there are persons who have interest in being ambitious enough to represent the area of Providence, Miss Norma, which I have no claim over. But please let us do the thing right. You can't just be giving out cards to people without no documentation. The cards are given to me, we distribute them, but he must sign for the cards. And we also instill in it what you call a declaration form. So we are clear that documentation is the most important, critical thing in going forward. We don't want to do this thing vikey and have at the end of it, we have a whole heap of problems to clean up. So reported to the Chief Secretary, Mr. Dennis, on the issue, and I hope that is dealt with quickly, because at the end of the day, we don't want these things to come back to be torn in the thistle later on in life. So I'm just urging that when we do this thing, remember that we are doing it for helping persons and not for mileage, please.
Now that's May 2020. He said that he reported to Chief Secretary Ansel Dennis, you know. Ansel Dennis say he never hear nothing about no food card, no bacchanal in Tobago, and whoever say that lie, Ansel Dennis. And you talking about lie. Well, boy, if you know about lie, all you have to do is look up. Look up at your leader, and boy, you could get lie. You hear lie? Run it, Archie.
Forget that old
talk. Might privatize, and they might go home. So don't take that hope. Don't take that hope.
Empty promises.
You see what you have. You have a man who honest.
That's
and
right.
I tell you.
Yes, show the Rowley line now. Rowley, I show a Vishnu have it there, Archie. Run it. Show how Rowley, how much lie. And there's only a little piece, Archie, we can't show you all Rowley lie, or else douglAR politics done for the whole week. Run it.
So this is an era where people are subscribing to a view that truth does not matter. Is what you can get people to believe that matters. This world is a place now in 2019 going forward where people are making a career of not speaking the truth, and every item of information has to be checked and double checked.
But I want to talk to the mothers, the children, the neighbors, and all those who are attached to the Petrotrin business to make one clear statement to you. First and foremost, the government is not closing down Petrotrin.
I'm now discovering some person called Asdrubal Chavez, who I'm now discovering as part of the commission. He worked as part of a commission for PDVSA restructuring somewhere in his past. Nobody in that meeting was introduced to us as president of PDVSA. Nobody. I saw the leader of the opposition refusing to take part in a debate in the House. The Speaker looked at the opposition bench when it was their turn to stand up. Nobody stood up. And then I heard that comment from Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa that she was prevented from speaking.
Speaker?
I called the Attorney General, that's why.
Much obliged, ma'am. Madam Speaker? I thank the honourable members of this chamber for...
As chairman of the National Security Council, as Prime Minister of this country, I did not know that the police was on to Marlene McDonald.
However, I simply want to say to the national community that in treating with the matter of safety, security, crime and criminality and the comfort of our citizens, I hold the office of chairman of the National Security Council, and I may have a little more information on these matters than any other citizen. That's all.
You had appointed Mr. Motley, Balgobin, and another person in the initial stage where you gave a guideline to the country, but these are the people going to help you to draft and lead a way forward for sandals. Yeah?
No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. Please, please, no, sir. No, sir, your record wrong. Mr. Motley was only invited to work with this government on the issue of gas. Gas, in dealing with the gas companies, in dealing with the gas master plan. That's where Mr. Motley had absolutely nothing to do with sandals. So whatever note you have there, take it up.
To appoint a team of people
and we are grateful that they've agreed to serve those who have already been informed. And that team is to be headed by Mr. Wendell Motley. Will be the one that will do the negotiations for what is to happen with respect to this project that we are pursuing for Sandals and Tobago. And I know that you will accept that from a Prime Minister who always tells you the truth. And I know that you will accept that from a Prime Minister who always tells you the truth.
Okay, you see two Anil there and all. We in such shock. We don't know what to say. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. The most important, most powerful position. That thing is Prime Minister. Wow. And the Prime Minister who has divided this country more than ever in history. It is now getting worse. On the radio, on the eve of Diwali, I got the opportunity to hear some information firsthand from a PTSC driver, Mr. Ryan Ramdat, down in South, that he went to drive on the Wednesday, the day before Diwali, in his resplendent regal kurta to drive our citizens in our multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious paradise of Trinidad and Tobago, where every creed and race shall find an equal place. This gentleman dressed up so brilliantly, splendidly, and was instructed by the PNM PTSC that he could not drive the bus in his kurta. Him and 7 other drivers, and they were instructed that it came down from the PNM board. So I am asking to the PNM cabinet, Rohan, the only honest Indian Sinanan, Keith Christopher Rowley, the PTSC board, what was that instruction? Was it across the country, or was it a rogue manager in PTSC who decided to implement a divisive, discriminatory practice that goes against the grain of who we are in Trinidad and Tobago? And this does not just sit by itself. On top of that, do you know that because 8 of these drivers were not allowed to drive, that citizens reached late wherever they were going, and routes somehow had to be adjusted and readjusted, and drivers had to be called out who was not on work, and so on. So the public was put at great inconvenience because the PNM didn't like kurta. This at the same time that we seen that the Minister of Education, when she was doing a curricule for her fundraising in her constituency, put out an advertisement for the Diwali curricule, and look there, $45 for chicken meat in Diwali, disrespecting the Hindu faith, the Hindu religion, disrespecting everything about Diwali. That is PNM, and from the Minister of Education, no less. Furthermore, we saw an independent senator attack the Hindu religion and Hindu people just so out of the blue, you know, when she tried to say people don't want to pay property tax. The independent senator, this one, and when you read her contributions, I am so impressed. You know that I am more impressed than her when she's supporting PNM policy than the PNM debaters. She better Clarence Rambarat, for example, just come and talk a pack of nonsense, attack people, throw, cast aspersions, no research, nothing, just one bag of nonsense. Just why he get licks from Michelle Benjamin, Vandana, Mohit, everybody beat Clarence Rambarat. Wherever he go, he does get licks. Like he just like licks from woman. But this lady, independent senator, when you read her Hansard, her contributions in support of government bills is better than all the PNM. No joke, I'm telling you, I am so impressed. But this lady comes out and says, you don't want to pay property tax, but you have money for carnival. Right? If carnival come around, we go spend money. And you have money to spend at the Nagar during Diwali. But you don't.
My colleague who sits at my right hand tells me if the Diwali Nagar is held, people will come and spend what they don't have.
And before that clip, she said carnival. Now carnival, yeah, I could have said, because carnival that I love, that could be considered frivolous spending, because I'm spending to enjoy myself, to drink a little rum and soda, hear some soca, and get on. So maybe that's okay to say it's frivolous, even though I believe that carnival is a great industry and all of us that participate, it's a good way to diversify the economy. But that's fair comment if she thinks carnival is frivolous. But how dare you put carnival and Diwali in the same breath, in the same point, in the same sentence? Diwali is a spiritual time. Diwali, people, Hindus, fast for 5-6 weeks. There is no alcohol in Diwali. It's when you go to the Nagar, it's to hear bhajans and to hear prayers and to meet community. And to enter the Nagar is free. And if anyone wants to spend money on their spiritual time, I don't think that's frivolous spending. I think that's very important spending. We need a lot of prayers, a lot of spirituality. We need a lot of help in this darkness. So how can this independent senator attack the Hindu religion like that? And no apology, you know. But them talking about motion to censure and the upper house and everyone in the upper house, and we must be able dignity. Dignity is to attack someone's religion and to equate it with wine and jam and drink rum with carnival, and then say that that is frivolous spending, and they want to spend on that frivolity at the Nagar, and they don't want to pay property tax. I think she should apologize 3,000 times, because everything she said there is disgusting, it's dishonest, it shows a lack of understanding, a lack of respect, a lack of tolerance, a lack of discipline, and it shows that in her mind, every creed and race, every ethnicity, every person in this country does not find an equal place. So why she didn't say for Christmas we just go and spend money, when we go in the church and sit down by the pew, we just take out we money and give donations in the basket? And so why you didn't say that? Or we just go and put up and paint and put up Christmas tree and put up creche? Why you didn't discuss that? Because it would have been ridiculous. Because any expenditure on Christmas as a spiritual time, the birth of Jesus Christ, could never be described as frivolous. So how dare you describe the Hindu faith people spending money as frivolous and compare it to carnival, wine and jam with tongue and bumsy all over the place with alcohol and mash up the place? That's what you think? And you think the country will respect you? Independent senator? Where's the class? Where's the apology? Where's the understanding that you disrespected an entire segment of the population that you are supposed to represent? You see, as an independent senator, you represent everybody. You represent PNM, UNC, don't care, in between, don't vote, don't like, the whole country. And then on top of that now, well boy, this was the coup de grace. KFC in Guyana put a bucket of dead and surround it with deer. I don't even need to say anything. I'm not even saying anything. I can't even say anything. Lavanti, Bitam, PNM, always end. They love you. PNM, don't even have to campaign. Fitzgerald Hinds tell black people in the Beatham they're lazy and they're worthless and they don't want to sweat, but they want to go to heaven, they want to make money. That's the man you all vote for. Another man, Kareem Baird from the United National Congress, young fella, said, please, may I have your vote, please? I would like to represent you all. Get out there. I would like to put policies in place for the young people of Beatham, Laventille, and so on to get the opportunities they deserve in education, in sport, in culture, in health, to give them the opportunities to take care of their families, own houses, own land. Kareem Baird asked for your vote, respectfully. Fitzgerald Pumpsite Rasta Hinds, who run out of Laventille and living up in Mayaval where he bouncing down people dog, in a castle, he come and tell all you don't want to work hard, black people lazy, and they don't want to sweat by your money. I didn't see small pin young brother sweating to get $3.81 billion in work from the government. Where he sweat? He lift up concrete, he mix concrete, he lift up bricks, he walk up the hill with bucket. Where he sweat? 3.81 me and see Rawi mascara running from sweat when he just collect 23.6 million in rent and the next 23.6 million in rent for the next 3 years, and he sell 3 Porsche and he get all of them things plus his salary, plus they take 38 million to give him to outfit your own building. Me and see him sweating. But Laventille, all you vote for that. All you vote for that. You see how your brother, I don't understand, my people. And then you see now, repairs to Beatham sewer line to finish December 2nd. As I could recall, that sewer line bust and the people of Beatham living in stench for the last 7 weeks. Them know, we in November now start, and them say that thing finishing in December. Let me ask you all something in the Beatham. No, serious. I know you go vote for Anil and the UNC. All right, they dive all they like. No big thing. It's a democracy. But let me ask you that question. If that sewer line had bust in Goodwood Park, how quick it would have fixed? How quick it would have fixed if that sewer line bust and was stinking up Goodwood Park. There was only smelling tutu all in Goodwood Park, all in the mansion, all in the hill. As the breeze blew off of the Gulf of Paria, it took the scent of feces straight into the nostrils of those in Goodwood Park. How long it would have taken to fix, my people? I think 7 hours. Only on 7 weeks already, and you have 4 or 5 more weeks to go. Great is the PNM. Vote for them. What you want me to say? Protests crop up in Princestown, bad roads, landslip, no water for Diwali. The minister man, no water for Diwali, said, and the minister man he talking about corruption in WASA. Yes, because WASA is PNM. PNM run WASA, PNM create WASA, PNM has been in charge of WASA for 6 years, and we moved from 74% 24/7 supply under Kamla and Ganga Singh on the United National Congress to 18% under this minister man. He don't even have water to wash off the makeup on the face. And then he come to say, then you see Rodney Charles stating, Naparima treated like an outside child, and roads and bridges coming down the road, landslip, mash up, people car mashing up. No water, bring back the minister man. No water on Eid and Diwali as usual. The editor, I've been residing at St. Charles Village for years. One thing you can bet your carnival money on is that on Diwali and Eid, there will be no pipe-borne water supply. Where I live, I have seen this repeatedly every single year. Why is this? Is it because the area is an opposition seat? This year's lack of supply started a few days before Diwali. But happy Diwali, Trinidad and Tobago, especially to those curtailing the water supply to homes. AV, Rampasad, Princestown. But you, where you was? By Gadsby Dolly buying chicken in the Diwali curricule? When people have no water, you studying man in a van? Mayaro residents have no water for Diwali. Mayaro and all, Rushton Parade, tired write letters. The people of Mayaro suffering. And then this minister man, hear him now. TT Post must make a profit. Minister, wait, we had to move your name from Minister Man to Minister Fireman. Because you're going and fire people at TT Post too. How TT Post must turn a profit just so? How are we going to do that? By busing people throat, busing workers throat, because WASA workers have to go under you. They put you there, Minister Man, to be the Minister Fireman. Fire all man, fire all people. That's what they put you there for. To put a black face, a black face with foundation. Right? While the boys behind, the recusal twins and them, doing their wickedness to the labor movement and to poor people, busting people throat. WASA, they say, is PNM. To my WASA brothers and sisters, them coming at you, they're going to blame everything on y'all and they're going to fire y'all. Now TT Post, you're going to get fired. Where the petroleum workers? Where Rowley said not shutting down? Where the workers? All gone. All. Tech. Look, all your man here. This is the man. Call him Fireman. Minister of Man and Fireman. Everything with man. He in that. TT Post must make a profit. How are you going to make a profit? Fire everybody. Police HR Director, defense process using contract dismissals. Right? So call me, but Police Service Commission collapse. Rowley didn't want Gary Griffith. A year before, he vexed. He write to Bliss C. Prasad, sister of Shari C. Prasad. She then take the merit list duly approved by the majority of the Police Service Commission to the President. The President showed her discretion and allowed Bliss C. Prasad to withdraw the list. Section 123.4 says that is a breach by the President. The President cannot show or have any discretion whatsoever. She had to, she shall, she must, she's duty bound. Once it reached there by office of the President, which she admitted in her paid advertisement that it reached, then she was duty bound to send it to Parliament. Nothing else. Not allow nobody to withdraw nothing. So the entire Police Service Commission collapsed. Merit list collapsed. Rowley go on Scotland to talk to Mosquito in our auditorium and everything relaxing. Women dying. Grandy, a woman get killed. Another girl body found. Rape, pillage, woman getting kidnapped and jumping out of car. Murders skyrocketing. Surge since August. October was 23 more murders than last year October. But with no commissioner of police, the PNM Minister of Finance appoints Jacobs, DCP Jacobs, to act as an accounting officer. DCP Jacobs as an accounting officer gone to do some cost-cutting measures and bust 19 people throat, fire 19. 4 no renewal of contract and 15 bust throat. But when we research here on douglAR Politics, I told you all first that while he was doing that, he did not fire his daughter. Well, we learned that it's 2 daughters. So he's a patriot. He in the police service and 2 of his daughters working there too. So when them go by the police, them just take home 3 salary to 1 family and he say he's a patriot, right? Well, anybody could be a patriot if they get 3 salary. Patriots just do things for free. All the years I coach and all the national medals and international medals and acclaim, world championship medals, Pan American gold, I think me again never get $1 from the government. But I's not a patriot. Jacobs is a patriot because he draws in a pay from the police service and his 2 daughters draws in a pay. And when it comes to fire people now, his 2 daughters here get fire. And the lady who he was in a meeting with firing people, she daughter remained too, Miss Ramgalam. Oh, you all forgot I told you that? And Miss Ramgalam, the news, they finally caught up with Miss Ramgalam, but such an important news story, you know it where it went? Page 21, you know. The douglAR had to dig deep in the news, they to see it. Johnson LeBon, Police HR Director, defense process using contract dismissals. Okay, well, let's hear this. because the 19 was Gary Griffith appointed them and so on at the bus route. The mother of an attorney hired by the police under former police commissioner Gary Griffith, but who was not fired during a cost-cutting exercise, says there is no nepotism involved. Independent senators, I want you all to follow this, please. I would love to hear your opinion. Do you believe that two people firing, making up a 3-person committee, because I think Inspector Archie or DCP Archie was there also. So 2 out of the 3 people who are determining who can have a job and who cannot, who will lose their contract and who will keep their contract, they sit in the committee and leave 3 of their own children with contract while firing others. To the independent senators, do you all consider that to be a conflict of interest? Is that good corporate governance practice? Is that the proper way to run? Or is that nepotistic? Please, I just want to know, especially Senator Massa. All you know is Senator Massa? Well, after this, oh, look, Senator Massa, boy. Senator Massa, just now, Senator Massa. Sorry, Massa. I would talk to you in the upper house, Massa. Okay, move Massa just now. I'm not ready for Massa yet. So I'm asking you all, because you all are the bastions of integrity, propriety, attacking the opposition with venom in the media, talking our behavior disgraceful and that we are showing double standards. Okay. But I'm just asking all you, Ramgalam and DCP Jacob, 3 children, working under Gary Griffith. They fired 19, but them 3 did not get fired. Is that right? Is that correct? Is that good governance? Is that conflict of interest? Or is that good proper procedure? Please, let me know, because I don't understand. I'm confused. She continued. She said her daughter Marissa was hired in a process that was above board. Okay, we didn't say. So the others 19 were hired in a process that was below board? We're not asking how she was hired. We're talking about how you and DCP Jacobs fired but didn't fire them. You didn't fire your daughter, and Jacobs didn't fire his 2 daughters. That's what we're talking about, not about how they was hired. She was hired, great process, fantastic. But that means the others were also hired by great process, fantastic, because that's what Gary Griffith did. All of them were hired by Gary Griffith. She continued, but Ms. Rablagan, the douglAR now going to get vexed with you. Very angry. Because when you're trying to defend wrong thing, you just overtalk. And when you overtalk, you just get catch lying like Rowley. So hear what Ms. Ramlagan said. Ramlagan said the decision to dismiss the contract workers came after a review of employment, and those dismissed earned above a certain amount. Unfortunately for Ms. Ramlagan, one of the people that she fired with DCP Jacobs was the groundsman. The man who in charge of taking care of the good field Gary Griffith make there for football. I play on that field, and even I feel like I have more skill than I really have, because the ball rolling nice, and the groundsman have it nice, and the drainage nice, and the grass nice, and the lines painted well, and it's well maintained. And then the astroturf, the groundsman has take care of that, because you know in the sun you had a wet astroturf and so on. You had to vacuum it, you had to take care of it to make sure it don't depreciate. But Mr. Ramlagan, you fire the groundsman. But here the problem is Ramlagan, because she say, and let me quote again, Ramlagan said, the decision to dismiss the contract workers came after a review of employment, and those dismissed earned above a certain amount. The groundsman only make 5,000 a month. Ms. Ramlagan, your daughter making upwards of 12 to 15,000 a month, Ms. Ramlagan. So how 5,000, Ms. Ramlagan, is more than 15,000, Ms. Ramlagan? And DCP Jacobs' daughters too, they're making up here. but them remain. But a groundsman down here get cut. So, Ms. Ramlagan, you lie. Let me read again, you know, Ms. Ramlagan. And you working in the police. Okay. Ramlagan said, the decision to dismiss the contract workers came after a review of employment, and those dismissed earned above a certain amount, but the groundsman making less than 3 all your children. 2 all your children cumulatively is about 30,000 a month. The groundsman is 5,000. All you bust the groundman throat, the poor man throat, and what? So the groundsman what? And the 5,000 that you're paying he. When you fire he, the taxpayers' money waste, because when you don't maintain facilities, the cost to fix it and to replenish it and to refurbish it is huge. But if you have 40 people in an HR unit and you fire 1, well, you are 39. So very interesting. That is with police. That's where we reach. So it's not a constitutional crisis, is it? We don't need any vote. We don't need any debate. We don't need to have proper legal guidelines to get a tribunal to fact find. Over 10 years in Parliament by an interesting letter here by Ms. Denise Deming. She says, I can think of 3 waves of migration from Trinidad and Tobago. People left after the 1970 revolution, after the 1990 uprising, and there's been an uptick over the past 3 or 4 years. You see, people leaving under PNM. Now, this is Denise Deming, former chairman, PNM chairman of the tourism board, okay? This uptick in migration will continue because the country has flatlined. And again, in the words of Stalin, now the treasury flat and the country come back to square one. Once people leave, they are unlikely to return, says Denise Deming. Every year, though, through an oppressive web of taxes, we surrender more than 1/3 of our income, which we earn at a significant cost to our physical and mental well-being for nearly non-existent government services. Now, the increase in taxes and so on happens under the PNM. Under Kamala, there were no new taxes, and the subsidies and so on that benefit each and every citizen, including you, Ms. Deming, when you put fuel in your car and so on, Kamala kept that. So not only is Rowley and his PNM taxing you, they're also taking away your God-given birthright that you own a piece of gas. But I'm interested in your article. This is Denise Deming. You see, she was a PNM chairman of the tourism company. She resigned, but she didn't tell us exactly why. We had to kind of try to infer what happened in there, who tried to tell her to do what. But you see, this is the problem. Because when PNM do wrong, people has tried to say all kind of different ways to say they're doing wrong and include everybody else. Let's see how Ms. Deming now will include everybody else. Let's see, because she's very bright. So let's see. Unfortunately, our population has no opportunities to assess performance other than the ritual of quinquennial general elections, and like a dishonest employee, you promise to do better next time. So this moribund group continues a weekly parliamentary charade pretending to be going about the country's business, while the corporate world, a contractor who behaves like this would very likely be taken to court for fraud. Well, you can only be talking about your government, because in our Westminster system, first past the post, the ones who carry on and have access to decision making and resource allocation is the government. So far it looks like you're very harsh on the PNM. I'm looking to see how the PNM, you must obfuscate. It must have some way to. Rowley doing terrible. They're illegal. They should be locked up for fraud. They're taxing. They're taking. No service. Inefficiency. People leaving. Country in a mess. Darkness around. Rowley in charge. But I am certain at some point I must hear something to draft in the yellow, to draft in Kamala. Somehow. It ain't come yet. I could be wrong, but let me read. If you have been in Parliament for more than 10 years, you have presided over economic decline. That's it. You see what they're on here? Because PNM somehow so much more important to them. So Ms. Deming is now saying, not 6 years, And the decline started 6 years, because if she's being honest, 2014 was one of the bumper years for the economy in Trinidad and Tobago. 2014 and all, Rowley was saying, look at this, all this cash we had in bank and so on, because Kamala left that day. NGC made a $2 billion US profit. Petrotrin was bringing in foreign exchange. Point Lisas was operating with 11 more companies. There was diversification. 55,000 jobs were created. 7.6 billion US in the heritage and stabilization. 12.26 billion in reserves, 14 months import cover, more agricultural production, balance of payments improvement, manufacturing sector giving more revenue to the economy. Go and check 2014, Tobago, 97,000 tourists, international tourists landed. But if you've been there for more than 10 years, just to let you all know, she couldn't be talking about me, because I've been there for 5.5 years, right? So 4.5 downstairs and 1 and a bit upstairs. So not the Anil, but she said if you've been there for 10 years, you presided over economic decline, which began long before the COVID pandemic. You're correct. The PNM was crushing the economy since 2016. You are responsible for an annual 500 plus murders. No, ma'am. Go back and check the murder counts and the murder rate. Under Kamala, 2011 was 375. Bawley said she had a state of emergency for 3 months. But Rowley had state of emergency and lockdown, shutdown 2020 and 2021. And still we crossed 400. Murder rate only increases, Miss Denise Deming, under the PNM. If you go back to 1997-98 under Bastille Pandey and the UNC, the murder rate was 96. It hit a peak under Patrick Manning and the PNM in 2008 with 558 murders, Miss Deming. Kamala came in 2010 and it immediately started to go down from the 558. The first year, 2010, went down to 500 and a little bit. Then 2011, 372 with a state of emergency. 2012 was 400, okay, and something. 2013 was 400 less. 2014 was 400 less, or 388, okay? So be very careful that 2015, it went back up 400 the same. 2016 went up to 400 high. 2017, 400 higher. 2018 and 19, when Stuart Smallpin was there, he got the silver medal with 530 something murders. So you see, don't lump everybody. Write with honesty, with facts. Take off that balisé, shake off that balisé. You have either ignored or facilitated the transformation of our society into the alleged narco state. Really? Who is the man dancing conga line with Maduro? Who are the people who locked down the borders to the whole country to citizens but allowed Delcy and PDVSA to come in? Narco state? Who is the government who Newman, George and Paria purchased a fuel shipment from Wilmer Rupetti Trafigura PTE and sold it to ES Euro Shipping? Wilmer Rupetti Trafigura PTE. It left down here Point-a-Pair and ended up in El Palito, Venezuela. Who did that? Narco state? No, ma'am. Conga line, Rowley Maduro, Rowley. Who attacked the USA in defense of Maduro? Who attacked the Rio Treaty in defense of Maduro? Who wanted to sell the Petrotrin refinery for 700 million US with Trafigura PTE being condition number 7, ma'am? Narco state, look your boy. You see, Miss Deming? Now you know you have an apology for me from since 2014, 2015, December 2014. But it's all right. I see you every day. Beautiful. But you're still yet to apologize. But it's okay. I forgive you long time. Remember when you drove past and you told me something very disturbing because you believed in nonsense of your PNM sycophants who like to lie on people, but you did not apologize yet. Maybe you will at some point. It's only been 6-7 years. 10 years, maybe in 10 years, you will apologize. From your own personal reflection, you should have accepted that if you have not made a difference over more than 10 years, you have failed and should allow someone else the opportunity to make a difference. Your conscience should tell you to resign, but since it appears you no longer have a conscience, here's my ass, says Dennis Demin. Now let me tell you, you had to be talking about Rowley, because Rowley has been there for 29 years and he has made no difference in people life, poor people life, woman life, crime life, economic life. All he has done is improve his own lot and receive procurement without procurement legislation. But if you are trying to refer to anybody there 10 years, let's take Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Kamla Prasad Bisesa in 97, in 95 to 2001 as Attorney General and then Minister of Education, carried us closer towards the Millennium Goals. As Prime Minister, she created Children Life Fund, she increased sport funding across the board, took us to Olympic gold and 3 Olympic bronze, increased funding for culture. The relations with Tobago acted with more respect. Tobago's tourism improved, the sea bridge operated well. There was over an average of 2.1 billion US in foreign direct investment. The economy was beginning to be diversified. Sport tourism was on the way. She was building 4 or 5 hospitals to improve the system. She created policies of laptop and digitalization way back in 2010. So Kamla, so what? She there longer than 10 years? And that's just off the top of my head. So when you want to speak, Madam Deming, you are speaking about Rowley, say it, don't be afraid. Say Keith, let me help you. Follow Anil. Be brave. Keith Christopher Rowley is the worst Prime Minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Keith Christopher Rowley has carried Trinidad and Tobago to the worst, deepest economic deficit that we have ever seen, even worse than 1983 to 85. Keith Christopher Rowley is heartless and has done not one thing to improve the lot of the lives of Trinidad and Tobago. The economy is now stagnant. We are parasites on the global scheme. We do not care about the environment. We send oil spills down to the bottom of the ocean. We have shut down Point Lisas. The roads infrastructure is dilapidated and totally damaged. We suffer from flooding every 30 minutes of drizzle. The entire education system has collapsed. Our children are doing worse than ever before. And during COVID, he has not managed. We have nearly 1,800 people dead and dying. We have been on lockdown, shutdown, and brought down state of emergency, and yet crime is out of hand. We have no commissioner of police. For the first time in our history, the Police Service Commission has collapsed because of Rowley's political interference. The presidency has been brought into the political guile, and the flag is dragging for the first time in history down in the mud because of Keith Christopher Rowley. And we could continue. School feeding is down, opportunities down, funding for sport is down, sport tourism is non-existent, maintenance of sporting facilities and recreational grounds non-existent, allocations to local government are non-existent and diminishing. The entire economy, no foreign exchange. We are not able to create business. Businesses have shut down. 44% of businesses will never open again. People are starving and hungry. Illegal migrants have come in here for the last 5 years and keep coming because of porous borders. No diesel, no air guard, no helicopter, no police, no attempt to keep us safe. So say it with me. Keith Rowley must go. He must resign. He has failed. He is the worst. You know that. And then after you say that, tell us, why did you resign from being the chairperson of the TDC, or whatever they call it, the Tourism Authority? Expert warns of another spike taking shape. 71 COVID deaths in 1 week. Now, Pfizer COVID pill has 89% efficacy. A pill you could take to eliminate COVID. So the whole world go now pop a pill, go down by the pharmacy, but we on lockdown, shutdown, and lockdown. And when you all try to equate PNM and UNC, I keep telling you all, the people in the UNC in disparate fields are more intelligent, more passionate, more creative than what you have in the PNM. Just check it out person for person, and you will see, for example, in the budget over a month ago, Dr. Rishi Sitcharan said to Diyal Singh, there is this science coming out from Merck and now Pfizer that get in line. You're done late on all the procurement for vaccines. You create vaccine hesitancy, no education. You didn't get the 351,000 Pfizer way back in February when you could have gotten it. You bring see how fast people afraid, they don't trust all you. Well, do something now. Rishi Sicharan told them, go and get that. Look what happened. Just make sure, just to show you, I ain't lie. Actually, show them that I ain't lying.
Hi, this is Dr. Rishi Sicharan, Member of Parliament for Karen East. During the recently concluded budget debate, I asked the Minister of Health during my contribution to order a drug by U.S. company Merck. And this drug is the first oral treatment for COVID-19 for persons vaccinated or unvaccinated. And basically during the clinical trials, this drug showed that it decreased hospitalization and death by 50%. And what happened is I asked the minister to pre-order this drug pending WHO approval, because what happened last year with the vaccines is that many countries around the world, including the United Kingdom and the US has bought $2 billion US of this drug pre-order. The UK has bought another substantial amount, and many other European countries around the world. So they have all grabbed at this drug exactly like what they did with the vaccines. And I asked the Minister of Health to pre-order this drug because we have so many persons in this country that are not vaccinated adults, and it will take us a long time to get some supply from the US or one of our international partners. And during that time, many persons would die of COVID-19 in this country, and this is the first therapeutic and oral treatment that can be taken at home, and it would save your life. You basically take the drug within the first 3 days of symptoms, and it reduces death and hospitalization by 50%. There's another drug by Pfizer, which is also in third stage trial, and it's expected to get US approval by the end of the year. And this drug even has better results than the one by Merck. But all of the stock that is currently being produced is pre-ordered and pre-bought by many countries around the world, exactly like what happened with the vaccine scenario last year around this time, when we made an allocation for vaccines and we did not pre-order any vaccines from Pfizer or from Moderna, and we had to wait until June or July before we got a substantial order of vaccines to vaccinate many of our population. So it's basically the same mistake. I asked the Minister of Health, would you pre-order this drug? And he said, no, it is not WHO approved. I said, could you pre-order it pending WHO approval? He said, no. I asked him to set up a committee at the Ministry of Health, a new drug committee that would evaluate drugs such as these, and those with the technical expertise could advise him on if to order drugs such as these for situations that we are currently facing, and he said no.
That was October 4th. Rishi Sicharan, United National Congress, talking about Merck, and he had information of the Pfizer third following it up. Newsday, Section A, Saturday, November 6th. Now a Pfizer COVID pill. Drug maker says it cuts hospital and death risk by 90%. But when the UNC tell Convan girl they done, go on, get on the list, get out there, get it for our people, get in the line, start to move and create so that our people could get it. Nah, you have it under control. Number one in the world. Well, here number one in the world. The Alsing Blanks Ascension Tournament for vaccinated footballers. So in Trinidad and Tobago, fully vaccinated people cannot even go and play football in a tournament. We watching Cricket World Cup. We watching Cycling World Championship. Boxing, we get our bronze in boxing world title. Boxing, We watching across the ball NBA football, NFL going on. 100,000 people college football. Auburn playing Alabama. 120,000 people in the stands. The whole world rocking, cycling, swimming, everything going on. In Trinidad and Tobago, the Alsing Blanks Ascension Football Tournament for vaccinated people. The Ministry of Health has blanked the request from Ascension League Terence Dial Singh, Minister of Sport and Community Development, Shampa Kujo, Normalization Committee, PNM Robert Haddad, who is a billionaire who take money from football for a stipend to be the chairman of the Normalization Committee, and Sport Company Chairman Duns Douglas Camacho, who cannot even get a turf down for hockey, and he's the chairman of the hockey board too, and the hockey teams went out there without any financing late. They get their money after they went and get licks after landing to play some tough games the day before. However, due to the community spread of the Delta variant of COVID-19, I am unable to authorize the conduct of this tournament, says Dial Singh. We're number one in the world. Aren't we number one in the world, Archie? Didn't he say that? And somehow you tell me that, and somehow you vote for that? The whole world have sport, all kind of sport. MMA, UFC, darts, polo, water polo, swimming, cycling, running, anything, basketball, rugby, everything playing. But we can't even play football. Archie, you have that number one in the world? Were we that? Let me hear.
Reached the point where the Blavatnik School of Government, which is a school of Oxford University, one of the top universities of the world, judged Trinidad and Tobago number one in the world, number one in the world, number one in the world. We got 0.8 for testing, tracing, and isolation. 0.8 out of 1 is fabulous. We got 0.9 for community understanding, the way Dr. Rowley led us in talking to the people. But we scored a perfect 10 or a perfect 1 in this area, management of imported cases and control. Listen to that. The way we managed how cases came into the country, how we controlled it, Trinidad and Tobago got a perfect score of 1. Number one in the world, number one in the world.
I know Somalia, it's hurting. It should. It should be hurting you. That you all let them. You are so much smarter, so much more intelligent than them. Let that fool you. We have to get information, we have to read, we have to be a little smarter. Elections have consequences. Independent Senator Anthony Vera has put a motion to censure the entire opposition bench in the Senate. He said, the motion said all senators were duty-bound to uphold the dignity and discipline and decorum of Parliament and defend it. And whereas all opposition senators who were present at the meeting of the Electoral College on October 21st made abusive and malicious assertions, imputed false and improper motive, and cast negative reflections on the character and impartiality of independent senators. Really? Let's go back now a little bit. This is his motion. I can't wait to debate. I've put in a request to Senator Mark, the leader of opposition business in the Senate, for me to lead off this motion, because I will show him the ocean and the motion in the ocean. Okay? But listen to this gentleman who's with all of that elitist, arrogant language, talking down to the opposition as if he is somewhere on high. I'm not sure if he understands that Masa Day really done, because Masa Day is done. Because when a senator, see, let me talk to you. Hey, I look in the correct way? Hey, Masa Day done, you know, boss. I don't know who you feel you talking to. But look at this, look at it. This is in the newspaper, right? He's talking about propriety and dignity and so on. But he is talking in the newspaper about opposition. He's an independent senator, supposed to be there, above the fray, not delving into politics, getting out there, hearing issues, listening to debate, and formulating an independent mind. But listen to how he talks to the opposition and about the opposition in the newspaper, but he bring in motion. I am absolutely appalled, said Senator Massa, at what happened on Thursday. It was disgraceful, and it will go down in the annals of history as one of the darkest days in our parliamentary proceedings. I am also appalled at the double standards that were effected by the opposition. Who are you to attack the opposition and impugn our character and the character of all the members downstairs and the members upstairs about double standards? I think you are fast and out of place. Let's hear what his analysis of double standards means. And this is in the media. This is for the whole world to see. That were effected by the opposition. People are entitled to bring motions. People are entitled to expect a certain process. But the behavior that took place was unmerited and uncalled for. Well, you're contradicting yourself like you are bipolar. Because if people are entitled to expect a certain process, that certain process is to read the motion fully, have it read, have it debated, and then formulate from both sides what is the evidence, what is the position, what are the facts, and then vote. There was no debate. So you are saying that we are entitled to debate, but then criticizing us in the most harsh manner from above, wherever you think you are talking down to the black and the browns. You are talking down to us and saying that you are appalled. Oh my goodness, Massa, me sorry for appall you. I say I go do better, Massa. Massa, you give me food, I will do it, Massa. Sorry, Massa. They, the opposition, want to attack my colleague Senator Sharice Sipasad on the basis that her sister, former Police Service Commission Chair Bliss Sipasad, was involved. Nobody's attacking Sharice Sipasad. It's a simple principle. It's her sister, her beloved sister. The issue involves her sister. Therefore, she should recuse herself. That's not an attack. And for you to accuse us wrongfully is disgusting, sir. You are wrong. You have told fibs in the public domain because it's a very simple principle of apparent bias and bias. And you are a lawyer. So the mere fact that you state that it is her sister, exactly, it is her sister, that she should recuse herself. And that should have been debated if she didn't do so on her own volition. That is a point to be debated. That is not an attack. It is her sister. He continued, a conflict of interest occurs when there is some kind of benefit or gain. There was no benefit or gain anywhere. So that the ground alone is nonsense. Well, that is absolute nonsense, Massa. The conflict does not have to only be beneficial. And who said there was no benefit? The benefit of them not being a tribunal saves her sister from the embarrassment of what took place. And that is not a financial benefit, but it is a benefit to be perceived as well as on her record as being convicted and gone to a tribunal. So there is benefit first and foremost. Secondly, a benefit, it has to do with also involving, since the sister, how can two people in one family be appointed by one president to two different independent boards when we have a whole country? All of this needs to be ventilated, because we have to understand that when we are in the Senate, as you said, as you are an independent senator, but it seems that you only represent one side who you like, because you feel free to attack the United National Congress. We are involved in politics and we are adversarially engaged with the PNM. You jump down on the side of the PNM to attack the UNC. Show me, sir, because you said that you are independent and you hold your independence up high and your integrity. Well, that alone, I don't even need to say nothing. That alone, a picture tells 1,000 words. But sir, please show me. I'm a fair person. Please show me in the media where you scathingly attacked and impugned the character and called on improper motives, imputing improper motives on the PNM. Show me one article, I will read it out and put it up here on douglAR Politics, just like this one, okay? He continued, what about Senator Jayanti Lakshmi? This is in the newspaper. This man now goes on a personal attack on Jayanti Lakshmidiyal, UNC senator, but he is talking about morality, propriety, and the behavior and decorum of the upper house. Who you feel you are to attack Jayanti Lakshmidiyal? Massa, they done, boy. Who you feel it is? You feel it some queen appoint you? You feel it's the royal family? We are gonna watch you on Netflix? Boy, catch yourself. So he goes on. What about Senator Jayanti Lakshmidiyal, who was an attorney in the very proceedings? In what very proceedings? There was no proceedings to deal with the issue that was before the Parliament about the President allowing the Police Service Commission chair to withdraw the merit list. That is a totally separate issue. So you're putting false information in the domain of the population to make an attack on a sitting UNC senator, and you think that's okay? Well, me thinks you jump down in politics, and when you jump in politics, you've come off your lofty, elitist, independent perch. In fact, all previous independent senators must be cringing at the sight of you, Massa. So he continues there. They want to say that the members of the independent bench are conflicted because we were appointed by the president, the subject of the proceedings. Human beings are not conflicted if their boss is the subject of our proceedings. Human beings are conflicted if their boss is the subject of the proceedings. In fact, the Constitution shows that there are loopholes and lacunas in the Constitution because independent senators appointed by the president, clearly, whoever they are, should not be involved in a process to vote on their boss. You see, when you take the emotion, you're very emotional. You're attacking venom. When you take the emotion out, you're appointed by the president. The issue at hand in the Electoral College dealt with the president first and foremost, then with the chairman of the Police Service Commission, the sister of Sharice C. Prasad. No emotion, no attack. Recuse yourselves. All the independent senators should have recused themselves if they were independent. Because someone who appoints you and you get the benefits, and or is it your argument that you get no benefit, you get no salary, you get no perks, you get no prestige, you don't get to talk down to the blacks and the browns like what you're doing right now and attack the UNC? No, there are benefits. And the president is the one who appointed you, gave you the instruments of appointment. So it is just reasonable that any human being would be conflicted, or they would fall under the process or the principle of apparent bias in an issue that involved their boss, the person who appointed them. Right? So it was that. But the leader of the opposition who brings the motion, so now you gone to attack Kamla now. You are an independent senator. This is in the newspaper, you know. Senator Massa, listen to him. The leader of the opposition who brings the motion has screened and appointed each of the members of the opposition bench in the Senate, and there's no conflict in their eyes. That might go down in history as the dumbest statement ever put on newspaper. You are saying that the members of the UNC bench are conflicted because we are appointed by the UNC? Son, we are UNC opposition senators. There is no conflict. We are in agreement. We are on a point. We agree with the motion. We help write the motion. We agree in the breach of section 1, 2, 3, 4. What conflict? We is UNC. PNM is PNM. The only people that's supposed to be independent is you and your cohorts, your colleagues. You're supposed to listen to the argument, not get involved and attack one side, be vile against one side, make accusations against one side, impugn the character of one side. That's not your job. Son, slow your roll. Massa they done. That was a long time. What do you want? You want the blacks and the browns to be quiet? Really? No. So first and foremost, you all should have recused yourself. Secondly, you said, we want process. Process is debate. We did not agree with the speaker's dictatorial guidelines. You didn't have a mic. You should have had a mic. Because I put it to you that if you and your colleagues were doing your independent duty, that the opposition would not have had to make these arguments. Because these arguments are totally reasonable. We want a debate. Someone should not adjudicate on a matter involving their sister. And members who, we didn't even say that you all shouldn't be there, which really and truly you should have all recused yourself, because this specific matter involves the president who appoints you all. How could we possibly think that a human being could go against the person who appointed them? That's not right. No matter how fair and independent and impartial you are, the apparent bias is there. But Kamala Prasad Bisesa said, listen, secret ballot at least. So no debate, we can't get no debate. We ain't get no recusal from Sharice Prasad. That's not an attack, it's a discussion, it's a point, valid point. Then we say secret ballot, so that there will be no pressure on independent senators to openly vote against their boss. Is that an unreasonable position? But this attack in the newspaper, attacking, who told you, Bob, that you could attack UNC members of parliament duly elected and opposition senators appointed by the leader of the opposition who is duly elected? Pointing to what he believed to be another double standard. Oh, only the UNC have double standards. And who are you to attack the UNC and talk about our double standards? Are you judge, jury, and executioner? Vera stated, Senator Massa stated, you, the opposition, come there and wrap yourself in the robes of democracy and say, oh, you are fighting for democratic. What, you attacking me, boy? Wait, you want me to take off my shirt? Eh? You want me brace for the whipper? You want me brace? You want me brace like Kunta Kinte? You want me brace up? Who are you, boy? Listen to this man language. Pointing to what he believed to be another double standard, Vera stated, you, the opposition, come there and wrap yourself in the robes of democracy and say, oh, you're fighting for democratic rights and people must be free to speak out and choose to vote for consciences. And when the independents vote, you boo. You see, you missed out, like you don't even read your own words. You said, we come there to fight for democratic rights and people must be free to speak. You missed out that part. So if you vote without speaking, I wonder how they pick on you. I really have to wonder where you get your law degree from. If people were not free to speak, then what you vote on? That's the argument, sir. You are making the argument, ignoring it and going on to attack us. That's not correct. That's not your place. You have jumped into the guile of politics. You have taken a side and you are venomously attacking the opposition. That is not your job spec, sir. Uphold the dignity of the independent senator in the upper house. What makes you feel that you could do that? Really? If I start to boo when they vote, how would they like that? Wow. They, them, those, who are they? The blacks and the browns? Who are you up there? Well, none of the independent senators had a mic in front of us. Well, and you didn't complain? So you don't want to talk? It's not important. We're not in the parliament, not parley. So the fact that you did not have a mic and you're stating that as something to be proud of, you're totally confused. You should have protested and they should have paused the whole sitting because the independent senators should have had a mic for debate, for discussion, for questions. Furthermore, the independent senators, had you all done your job fairly, propriety, convention, law, correctness, the opposition would not have had to be screaming and arguing, because you all would have stood up on the side of propriety and righteousness by just reading. So you not vexed that you didn't have a mic. So you come to the parliament and electoral with tape on your mouth. But you come in with a motion to open your mouth on the opposition. And you open your mouth to the media attacking the opposition, impugning our character, imputing improper motives on the opposition, on the leader of the opposition, on all the opposition senators, on Jayanti Lakshmi Dayal. Really? So the rules only apply to those persons? Sorry, Massa. You want me to take off my shirt so you can whip me? Massa, we sick? This motion that was brought, there are no particulars. There is no substance, really? You came to that conclusion? How you know? What have you heard? Did you hear the debate? How you have come to these conclusions? Every word you are saying shows that you are proving what everyone knows to be true. It's all based on opinion and speculation. Really? Let's try it now, Senator Massa. President Paula Mayweek said, by paid advertisement in all newspapers, the merit list was delivered to the office of the president on August 11th and immediately withdrawn that day. Section 123(4) of the Constitution states that on receipt of the merit list, the president shall notify Parliament. Not may, you're a lawyer, shall. That's what? That's opinion and speculation. So you're saying the president speculated on what she said? The evidence that she put in black and white? That's speculation, that's opinion, that's not fact. So you're calling the president a liar? The president said the list was received on August 11th and immediately withdrawn later that day. So are you saying that is just opinion, speculation on the part of the president? I'm not following you, Massa. Massa, your slaves are confused. And all I say to the opposition, what you preach it? I feel to come down this chair, I feel to sit down on the ground. All I will say to the opposition and to all those who think that what happened yesterday was somehow a good thing for democracy, all I could say to them is, shame, shame on you. All you could do better than that? Let me tell you something. The mere fact that the opposition had to fight for democracy, had to fight to debate, shows that you, independent senators, did not do your job. Because if you have politics, PNM, UNC, PNM speaker, attempting to thwart democracy and debate, independent human beings are the ones to say what? Wait, let's put some sanity here. These guidelines do not seem to follow the motion. Motions need to be debated. So what is this vote and go? Why do I not have a mic? I want to hear, I want to ask, I want to retort, I want to rebut. I want to hear what the leader of the opposition, why did she take such a step, such an important step, a critical step? Let me hear the information. Let me hear the Prime Minister talk about what he did, how he interfered, how he interfaced, when he met, who he met. You didn't want to hear that. And you did not want a tribunal, because that electoral college was to set up an independent tribunal, not a UNC tribunal, not a PNM tribunal, an independent tribunal that would have found the facts of the situation, what actually occurred, and if any misbehavior in public office took place, and whether there was any breach of the Constitution by the president. But you are against facts. You are against investigation. You are against information. You are against debate. You are happy you didn't have a mic. And you are now attacking, impugning the character and attacking UNC, the opposition leader and UNC senators. Whoa! I think you lost your mind there. Slow your roll, son. Slow your roll. Massa, they done. Long time. Me know where you living, where you liming. Independent senators cannot attack one side, right? Now, when I think about it, great independent senators from the past, if they are alive, they're shaking their head. Not at the opposition. The opposition has to do what we have to do. We're in adversarial politics with the PNM. But they're shaking their head at the independent bench right now. People like Dr. David Kwamina, Dr. Eastland McKenzie, Professor Ramesh Diosaran, Mr. Kenneth Lala. Do you think any of them would have attacked the opposition in such a vile manner? They would have known that's not on, that's improper, that is descending into the political guile, that could be interpreted as having a bias to go to the media and attack senators, leader of the opposition, calling them and talking about double standards. You are not judge, jury, and executioner. Who are you to attack the opposition senators? And then you on top of that bringing a motion against the whole UNC? Massa, they done, boy. Dr. Kenny, John Spence, Reverend Daniel Tilak Singh, Kenneth Ramchan, Dana Sitahal, they must be looking on and saying, boy, wow, what is this? And let me just tell you, and I'll read for you some things that maybe you will have a little insight into what you have done. This book is Malcolm X, the story, biography of Malcolm X. On page 155, the hate that hate produced. Despite this pressure and the general political swing toward conservatism in the post-war years, black activists continued to make significant advances. In December 1952, when Brown versus Board of Education came before the Supreme Court in the USA, the political world was still rigidly coded by black and white, separate but equal, as defined by the precedent of the Supreme Court's 1896 Plessy v. Ferguson decision, remained the law of the land. Yet the years leading up to the 1954 Brown decision saw changing circumstances that presaged its outcome. With the outlawing of the whites-only primary elections by the Supreme Court in 1944, many blacks throughout much of the South began voting for the first time. In 1946, in its Morgan versus Virginia decision, the Supreme Court declared unconstitutional any state law requiring Jim Crow sections on interstate buses, a decision that prompted a new civil rights organization, the Congress of Racial Equality, to launch a series of non-violent protests challenging local segregation laws on interstate public transport. In late 1959, Dr. Martin Luther King was catapulted to international prominence by his role in the Montgomery bus boycott, while in nearby Tuskegee, Alabama, blacks staged a 3-year-long economic boycott of local white merchants in response to the state legislators' gerrymandering of nearly all black voters outside the town's boundaries. In 1960, the Supreme Court sided with the Tuskegee's black protesters by declaring racial gerrymandering illegal. So all of these people who are activists, who are calling for changes of the status quo, the legislature, the governors, the way they were operating, the operations on the black voters, the thwarting of the vote for black people, the suffrage, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all of these people, according to you, they should have shut up and stay quiet. Just take it. Let the gerrymandering go. Uphold the legislature and the state house. Respect. Don't argue. Don't fight for your rights. Don't fight for democracy. According to you, these people were vagabonds. They are double standards and disgraceful. But in Trinidad and Tobago, gerrymandering, as they come and bring an EBC bill to direct the EBC, to tell them what to do in Tobago, to carve out 3 seats out of PNM, the independent senators vote for that, and it goes through. So gerrymandering is okay in Trinidad and Tobago. But back in 1955, USA, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Kwame Ture, who Stokely Carmichael later on with the Black Panthers in the 60s and 70s, who was at Trini, who was banned by the PNM, he fought for that. But you want to bring back Massa Day. So when the opposition leader is fighting for a debate, fighting for the parliament to discuss and debate and bring facts, you find we should hush up. You find we shouldn't say nothing. You are telling us we're disgusting. We are fish market. We are degrading. We are not worthy. All right, Massa. Continues. In the struggle for dignity, you use the word dignity. Let's see. Once at the conference, he immediately Malcolm X began to circulate a memorandum, a conference in Africa. He was trying to get the African nations to put the USA, because of its Jim Crow oppression of black people, on the blacklist, calling upon newly independent African nations to condemn the United States for its violations of black human rights. Racism in America is the same that it is in South Africa, he argued. He urged African leaders to embrace Pan-Africanist politics by endorsing the struggles of African Americans. We pray that our African brothers have not escaped the domination of Europe, Malcolm observed, only to fall victim to American dollarism. In other words, we hope that our African nations don't sing for the supper, that they stick to their principles of dignity and integrity and do not fail. In the end, Malcolm failed to persuade, though not for any great flaw in his argument or ebbing of his passion. His rhetoric simply could not overcome the logic of international politics in the bipolar political world of the 1960s. See, bipolar. So what he could not overcome was the singing for the supper of the African nations, because they believed that black man should be free, but they wanted the Yankee dollar. So they had to sing for the supper, and that's why Malcolm X failed. And up to now, we still need Black Lives Matter. Let's go to another person. Since you're attacking the opposition for fighting for democracy, for fighting for propriety, to work against dictatorship. Let's see what Nelson Mandela said in his book Conversations with Myself. First of all, the foreword by Barack Obama about Nelson Mandela, because I would like to show you, Senator Vera Massa, they done so. In the end, well, that is Mandela's message to each of us, says Barack Obama. All of us face days when it can seem like change is hard. Days when our opposition and our own imperfections may tempt us to take an easier path that avoids our responsibilities to one another. Mandela faced those days as well. But even when little sunlight shined into that Robben Island cell, he could see a better future, one worthy of sacrifice. Even when faced with the temptation to seek revenge, he saw the need for reconciliation and the triumph of principle over mere power. Even when he had earned his rest, he still sought and seeks to inspire his fellow men and women to service. That's what you should be doing, sir. You should not be attacking the opposition for fighting for the rights of people, fighting for our democracy, fighting to protect our constitution. Your job is not to attack the UNC. You're an independent senator. Wings to the Spirit, from the unpublished autobiographical manuscript written in prison. Here I learned to adjust myself to urban life, came into physical contact with all the evils of white supremacy. Although the township had some beautiful buildings, it was a typical slum area, overcrowded and dirty, and undernourished children running about naked or in filthy rags. It teemed with all kinds of religious sects, gangsters and shebeens. Life was cheap, and the gun and the knife ruled at night. Very often the police would raid for passes, poll tax and liquor, and arrest large numbers. In spite of this, Alexandria was more than a home for its 50,000 residents. As one of the few areas of the country where Africans could acquire freehold property and run their own affairs free from the tyranny of municipal regulations, it was both a symbol and a challenge. Its establishment was an acknowledgement that a section of our people had broken their ties with the rural areas and become permanent town dwellers. Drawn from all African language groups, its population was politically conscious, more articulate, and with a sense of solidarity, which was causing increasing concern among the whites. Doesn't that sound like Trinidad and Tobago now? Where bandits are running free, where the knife and the gun rules the night, and black people, brown people, all people are under pressure because there is no commissioner of police, because there was political interference with the Police Service Commission, and this interference was upheld and allowed by the President of the Republic, who did not follow the law, the rule of law, and the Constitution. So with all due respect, sir, save your darts and your attacks for someone else. Further on, Mandela continued, the ideals we cherish, our fondest dreams and fervent hopes, may not be realized in our lifetime, but that is besides the point. The knowledge that in your day you did your duty and lived up to the expectations of your fellow men is in itself a rewarding experience and a magnificent achievement. So your barbs and your attacks will not stop or would not shun Kamla Prasad Bisesa from doing her duty for her country, to uphold her constitution, the democracy, and to make sure that the rule of law is controlled and everybody is below the law, that there is not one law for some and another law for others, that Massa Day is truly done. That's what Kamla Prasad Bisesa is about, and she will continue to do so, and all of us in the UNC will continue to do so. And you, sir, as an independent senator, cannot come down in the political gael, hit us, attacks, accuse us, impugn our character, and then jump back up into your lofty perch and say, whoa, don't hit me. Welcome to the gael, step down. And what you should do is resign and go up for a PNM seat. In Mandela's book, Nelson Mandela Autobiography, The Long Walk to Freedom, chapter 11, page 129, he said, I cannot pinpoint a moment when I became politicized, when I knew that I would spend my life in liberation struggle. To be an African in South Africa means that one is politicized from the moment of one's birth, whether one acknowledges it or not. An African child is born in an Africans-only hospital, taken home in an Africans-only bus, lives in an Africans-only area, and attends Africans-only schools, if he attends school at all. When he grows up, he can hold Africans-only jobs, rent a house in Africans-only townships, ride Africans-only trains, and be stopped at any time of day or night and be ordered to produce a pass, failing which he will be arrested and thrown in jail. His life is circumscribed by the racist laws and regulations that cripple his growth, dim his potential, and stunt his life. This was the reality, and one could deal with it in a myriad of ways. I had no epiphany, no singular revelations, no moment of truth, but a steady accumulation of 1,000 slights, 1,000 indignities, 1,000 unremembered moments, produced in me an anger, a rebelliousness, a desire to fight the system that imprisoned my people. There was no particular day on which I said, from henceforth, I will devote myself to the liberation of my people. Instead, I simply found myself doing so and could not do otherwise. You will not thwart Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the UNC, Anil, from fighting for this democracy where every race, every creed finds an equal place, and we are all below the law, and the independent institutions must not be politicized to play games to thwart our constitution and our democracy. So woe is you, bring your motion, but you must check yourself in the mirror, Senator Massa. Because while you are checking yourself, I now read from your Hansard, where you, on record, not in crosstalk, on record in a debate, attacked me. You don't know me, I don't know you, you don't know my medical history. You came to conclusions and cast aspersions on my character, my mens rea, my operations, my actions, and you cast doubt and attacked me on the record. And you think that's okay? Have you apologized? You're not man enough to, so I don't expect it from you. But let me read for you what is disgusting, what is distasteful, what is dishonorable. And listen to this man. This is Senator Vera, the Privileges Committee debate, this 27th of July 2021. I only got to see the committee report over 121 pages yesterday evening. So he only get a 121-page report in the evening, but he talking in the morning and casting aspersions on my character, imputing improper motive. Brilliant, independent. My initial position was to stay out of this debate. Well, your initial position was correct, and then something else made you make a wrong decision. What is that? What could that be? Because your initial independent thought was to stay out, because you didn't know what you're talking about. You only got the report in the night. Secondly, I regard Senator Roberts as one of our most colorful, what? What's that? One of our most colorful, clever, and eloquent speakers in Parliament. Hey, who you feel you describing? Well, you want to put me on a slab and see how much people go pay for me? I am colorful and clever. I don't need you to say who you feel you are. You don't know me. How dare you? As if I care about what you think about me. That's your business. You see how you see what you're doing? Look inside yourself. I am colorful. I'm glad I'm here to entertain you, master. And these expectations are magnified when one considers that both his parents and his siblings are reputable members of the bar. Hey, were you bringing my family into your mouth for? You see, you are, something is wrong with you. Something is truly wrong with you. He continued. Thirdly, and notwithstanding how much one may admire, like, or be entertained, I look like Marshall Montano. I look like I need to do a lap dance. As an entertainer, as a dancer. Master, something is wrong with your brain. Wherever you were socialized, you need help. You better read plenty, because you have lost the script. Master, they done. He said Senator Roberts was informed of the allegations against him, and he was repeatedly invited to appear before the committee, and while he opted not to do so, I opted not to do so? How did you come to that conclusion? I have asthma, Brazilian variant. It's ravaging Trinidad and Tobago, and the committee refused to do virtual meetings, just like we had done with virtual joint select, energy, local government reform, and land and infrastructure across the board. They refused. You are saying that I did not make myself available. That is untrue. Maybe you should have read the report properly. That pains were taken to ensure that the principles of natural justice and procedural fairness were observed. There were no disputed questions of fact. Really? Where his trial is to take place, he's talking about, in summary, a defendant must get in general the natural justice. And he goes, where his trial is to take place, he deliberately and voluntarily absent himself. That right may be waived wholly or in part, and during the course of the trial, defendant behaves in such a way as to obstruct the proper course of proceedings. So you read a 121-page report, did not have my medical records, did not ask me anything. The committee did not ask me to produce any medical records, my doctor, my specialist, or anything on my asthma. And you go on and research about a person who is deliberately trying to thwart the proceedings, and you think that's correct? You are impugning my character, imputing improper motive on the Hansard. But even on crosstalk, you are a disgrace. As you say, shame. He said the discretion must be exercised with great care, but then he comes and contradicts himself, because the same case he's using says that the judge must exercise that discretion. It must be real hard. You must allow the person to defend themselves at all costs. Whether his behavior was deliberate, voluntary, and as such plainly waived his rights to appear, these are conclusions that you went to research to come about me on my asthma, my medical health, about a committee of privilege that could have been done virtually. Now for me, this last point, says Senator Massa Vera, last point has particular relevance, as it requires us to consider whether it would run counter to the public interest if a person could frustrate the parliamentary or other legal process by deliberately failing to engage. So you are stating on your response to this debate that I, Anil Roberts, frustrated the parliamentary and or legal process by deliberately failing to engage? Really? When COVID-19 pandemic, COVID-19 kills you by impacting your lungs, and a person with asthma is already working with lower capacity and oxygen intake, you just cast aspersions on a human being like that with no information whatsoever? That's really independent. It's really brilliant. You're upholding the decorum and dignity of the upper house. Yes. They just absent themselves and it will go away. To be frank, said this one, when I read this report last night, I wondered if a tactic to delay was being used. A tactic to delay until Parliament prorogued. Death stumping by the PNM, at which point the matter would die. And if so, that will be an abuse of process. Let's read that again, you know. So you read a report in the night and come to the conclusion that I, Anil Roberts, was faking asthma to thwart a process to wait for Parliament to prorogue because of committee of privilege, and you put that on the Hansard. You don't know me, I don't know you, you didn't ask me no question, the committee did not give me a chance to defend and did not request any medical history, and you come to all that conclusion on the record, and you are talking about distasteful, disrespectful, disgusting. Shame. Shame on you, Massa. Shame on you, Massa. They're done, boy. Let me read again, you know. To be frank, if you want to be frank, me I know if you like frank, but to be frank, when I read this report last night, I wondered if a tactic to delay was being used, a tactic to delay until Parliament prorogued, at which point the matter would die. And if so, that will be an abuse of process. Brilliant, amazing. We continue, you know. Let me find, there was something else. Kyle Taklal Singh. Because when you see the actions of this independent senator and others, you can see that they have begun a new trend of delving into political guile to attack the opposition. Never before seen such a vile public attack on opposition across the board. Kyle Taklal Singh, come in, let me hear your opinion.
It is also my respectful view that this motion of censure being brought by the goodly senator is totally out of order, anti-democratic, and not consistent with democratic norms and values. Here you have a motion by a person who is anointed by the president into the Senate, bringing a motion in Parliament to censure opposition senators who have been appointed via a democratic process by the elected leader of the opposition. How could that ever be right? A non-elected, anointed person using our parliament, our house, to shut up and to tell our elected representatives to be silent. That could never be right in a democracy. And it is my respectful view that that is one good reason why the independent Senate bench should be completely abolished. And we should have proportionate representation or some other method of selecting senators in the Senate, in the upper house. That is my respectful view on the matter.
So just to sum up, Senator Massa, for independent senators, you represent the whole country. 322,000 PNM, 309,000 UNC, and all others who didn't vote, don't like any other parties, or those who don't vote at all. You are to hear the debates of the PNM versus the UNC. You are then to assess the facts and vote accordingly. For you to stand there and boast that you had no mic, it shows that you do not know your job. Because if you had no mic, you should have raised your hand and said, what madness is this? The independent senators represent the entire country and we must be heard. If I want to speak, I need a mic. You happy not to have a mic? You happy not to have a debate? You then say that we, the opposition leader, is fighting for the process for debate. But she vexed about vote, but there was no debate. You contradict yourself in your own arguments if you read yourself. Just like in the African Congress, when Malcolm X went to get them to put the USA on the blacklist, and they played games because their bread was buttered by the USA dollarism. They were singing for their supper in the African Congress. Malcolm X failed. And so have you. And now the whole country knows it. Your vile attack on the opposition will not go unscathed. Welcome to the political Gael. I hope you can handle it. And talking about handle it, while y'all are suffering and y'all are hungry, 20,000, 40,000, 12,000, 52,000, 64,000 spent by Rowley and the PNM to tell y'all and present to y'all that what we saw with him talking to Mosquito, we didn't really see. So they can't give all your hamper, they can't fix your road, they can't get a commissioner of police, but they could spend all your money to tell we that he sung good, he looked good, and nobody here take he on. That's what they're doing with your money. And to Camille Robinson Regis, when you're dotish, hush your mouth. When you don't know, hush your mouth. When you're not bright like Kamala, hush your mouth. The lady outperformed you since you're small in primary school, secondary school, A-levels, university, masters, right across the board. In every case, you're a joker. So don't attack Kamala and say Kamala don't know about Google search. Talking about Rowley didn't go to Scotland to play golf. Because the golf, there's no golf in Scotland in winter. Yes, there is. Scotland is the place. They have mild winters. They boast and they advertise about golf in winter. So your nonsense about the golf season ending in October in Scotland is nonsense. The ground is soft enough to use iron play to chip, to putt, and so on. Golf is a big money earner during the winter months in Scotland. So when you don't know, Camille, shh, go and get a bag of cash, carry it so. Go and get a little card, swipe it, and put it on your bald head. Good night.